A loud crack splits the sky. Hooves skid against wet concrete as the auction yard erupts in chaos. A horse rears, kicking the air wildly, then stumbles, collapsing in the mud with a gasp of silence. People back away, muttering. A soaked auctioneer waves his hat, trying to calm the crowd. Rain hammers the tin roof. That's when the farmer sees it, half hidden in the shadows of an open stall. One eye, one limp leg, one forgotten horse, unmoving in the storm. No one bids, no one even looks. It's more of a placeholder than a prospect, a heap of wet fur and tired breath. But the farmer steps forward, brow furrowed, boots sinking in the mud. He's not a wealthy man. Truth be told, he's barely making ends meet. But something about the horse, something still and waiting behind those eyes, pulls at him. $20, he calls out. Laughter ripples behind him. The auctioneer blinks. Going once, going twice. Sold. No one offers to help. He loads the horse himself, coaxing it into the trailer with soft clicks and a rope too frayed for this kind of work. The horse doesn't resist. It doesn't do anything, really, not even flinch. The farmer notes the way it limps, not favoring the leg but dragging it, like it's forgotten how to lift it. Back home, he leads the horse into the old barn. It's not much, just patched wood and dusty straw, but it's dry. The horse lowers itself with a sigh, and for a moment, the farmer wonders if he's just bought something, waiting to give up. He pours oats into a tin. The horse doesn't move. The next morning, it still hasn't touched the food. Days pass. The routine sets in. Fresh hay, clean water, soft words that echo in a silent stall. The horse never bites, never bolts, but never engages either. The farmer starts calling it Dusty. Not for color, its coat is a dark, almost coppery chestnut, but for the quiet way it seems to settle into the earth, as if trying to disappear. The neighbors stop by. "You buy that thing to watch it die?" one asks with a chuckle. The farmer doesn't answer. He's not sure himself. Every morning Dusty's eyes track him, not in fear but in something else. Recognition, maybe, as if it's waiting for him to figure something out. One evening, while fixing a fence post at the edge of the pasture, the farmer glances toward the barn. Dusty is standing in the open doorway, lit by the golden light of sunset. Its ears are perked, its body still, its head tilted toward the wind. For the first time, the farmer feels it. This isn't just a horse. It's a secret, and it's watching him. By the third week, Cal Bennett starts to wonder if he's lost his mind. Dusty won't eat more than a few bites at a time. He flinches at loud noises, refuses to let Cal near his left side, and won't go near the pasture gate. When Cal rattles a grain bucket, the horse turns its head away, not stubborn, scared. "You're going to die of stubborn pride," Cal mutters, wiping his hands on his jeans. Dusty watches, unblinking. The vet says there's no break, no swelling. "The limp's not physical," she says. "Might be learned, or psychological." Cal doesn't know what that means for a horse. He grew up with working stock, cattle horses, ranch runners, muscle, and fire. This one? This one's made of silence. He tries everything: soft brushes, soaked mash, clean straw. One morning he leaves the stall open and walks away, hoping Dusty will wander the pasture. An hour later, he finds the horse standing in the exact same spot, ears back, tail low. He tries apples, carrots, even an old record player set on the ledge outside the barn, anything to coax a reaction. Dusty remains quiet. Not wild, not angry, just withdrawn. By now the whispers around town have picked up. "You feedin' a ghost, Cal?" "Sell it to the glue man before it keels over." "Whole barn's cursed now?" Cal doesn't say much back. He never has. But it stings. His dad's barn used to be the pride of the county. Now it's barely standing, just like everything else he owns. The shingles rattle in the wind. The fence out back needs patching. The debt notices are piling up. Still, every night Cal sits on an overturned bucket outside the stall and just talks. About the drought, about the broken tractor axle he can't afford to fix, about how the bank called again, about how tired he is, how lonely. He talks, and Dusty listens. And sometimes he thinks the horse understands. One evening, while fixing a rusted gate hinge, Cal hears a strange sound from inside the barn. He freezes. It's rhythmic, steady hoofbeats, not panic, not a stumble. He inches toward the door, careful not to spook Dusty. There in the center of the stall the horse moves, not pacing, not limping, dancing. It's slow, hesitant, like a memory being dragged out of the dark. One front leg lifts, then lands with a tap. The back follows, a circle, a quarter turn, then stillness. Cal holds his breath. Dusty turns his head and looks at him. There's no fear in the eyes now, just awareness. Then, as if realizing it's been seen, the horse backs into the shadows again. The limp returns. The posture closes. The fire is gone. The farmer doesn't sleep that night. At dawn, he calls in sick to the mill, sits in the barn with a notebook, sketches out the steps he saw, then waits. Dusty does nothing. But Cal's no fool. He's been around horses his whole life. That movement, it wasn't random. It was trained. Something's buried in this horse, not just pain, and Cal Bennett is going to find it. The morning sun cuts hard through the barn slats, casting sharp lines across the dirt floor. Cal's eyes are bleary. He hasn't slept more than a few hours in days. The notebook beside him is filled with scribbles, arrows, boxes, movement patterns, sequences. He's chasing a ghost he can't prove. Dusty stands motionless in the far corner of the stall, same as always, or almost. Cal notices the right foreleg again, still, ready, not resting. He reaches into his coat pocket and pulls out a harmonica, his father's old one, beat up and dented. He hasn't touched it in years, doesn't even know why he brought it. He plays a few slow notes. Dusty flinches, but doesn't retreat. Cal adjusts his grip, blows a longer phrase, something soft, simple. The tune drifts across the barn like smoke. Dusty's ears flick forward. The horse shifts. One hoof lifts and gently taps the earth, then the other. He pivots, barely, but it's enough. Cal stops breathing. Dusty circles once, dragging that left leg, but not limping. It's not pain, it's pattern. Cal recognizes it now, deep in his bones. It's choreography, precision. That night, Cal digs through his father's old storage crates in the attic. Among oil cans and brittle newspapers, he finds a box labeled County Fair Retired Riders. Inside are ribbons, programs, and a faded photo of a younger man, Cal himself, standing next to a jet-black stallion wearing a silver harness. He flips to the back. He stares at the photo, heart hammering. The horse in the picture is thinner, sleeker, unscarred, but the eyes, they're identical. This was no broken workhorse, no auction yard reject. Dusty had been trained, maybe even famous in a small circle, but something happened, injury, neglect, abandonment. Cal doesn't know, but now he does. The limp isn't damage, it's learned hesitation, a trained dancer trapped in silence. The next morning, Cal clears a small paddock behind the barn. He brings out a speaker, hooks up an old playlist from the fairgrounds, and waits. Dusty watches from the open stall door. His ears twitch. His stance tightens. The music starts. At first, Dusty stays still. Then, as a violin swells, he moves forward, slow, cautious, deliberate. He follows a line in the dirt, then turns, stepping in time. It's awkward, hesitant, but undeniably real. Cal steps back, hands shaking. He's watching muscle memory awaken from hibernation. Neighbors passing by stop at the fence, jaws slack. One woman whispers, "That's not a lame horse." Cal doesn't respond. He's watching something sacred. Dusty finishes the sequence and halts at the far edge of the paddock. He lifts his head high, not in defiance but in pride. And for the first time, Cal sees him whole, not a ghost or a burden, but a miracle in plain sight. The next few weeks feel like stepping into a forgotten dream. Every morning, Cal sets up the paddock with cones, poles, and soft music. Every day, Dusty steps out on his own, tracing invisible lines through the soil, like a dancer finding his rhythm again. It isn't perfect, not yet, but each session brings him closer to something whole. Cal doesn't push, he doesn't train, he listens. One morning, Cal lays out a basic dressage pattern, something simple, with tight turns and smooth transitions. Dusty follows with almost eerie precision. A rear cross-step here, a slow side pass there. It's not performance, it's memory, engraved in muscle and bone. Cal films it. He uploads the clip to a dusty old farm blog he hasn't touched in years, just to document it. A few clicks. A short caption, "Old horse, older soul." He forgets about it until his phone starts buzzing off the table. The video spreads like wildfire. Comments pour in. Riders, trainers, even retired judges. They're not just impressed. They're recognizing him. That looks like Dusty Rose. Is this the same gelding from Oak Hollow? He was a legend in our circle. What happened to him? Cal doesn't know how to respond. He barely knows how to use half these apps. But he reads every message, stunned by the truth unraveling in front of him. Dusty wasn't just trained, he was celebrated, until he vanished. A trainer from 2 states over-messages Cal directly. Her name is Riley Vega, and she remembers Dusty well. She asks for a visit. A week later, her truck pulls up the gravel road. Cal half expects her to laugh at what she finds, but she doesn't. She watches Dusty move through the paddock in a slow, extended trot, eyes wide. "That's him," she breathes. "He used to perform to standing ovations." She asks permission to approach the fence. Dusty hesitates at first, but when she holds out a sugar cube and whispers something soft in Spanish, he inches forward. He takes the treat gently. Tears well in her eyes. "He's still got it," she says. Offers come next, some quiet, some not. A retired equestrian academy wants to feature Dusty in a tribute showcase. A magazine calls. A local paper runs a story titled, "Crippled Horse Wasn't Crippled, He Was Legendary." But Cal turns down every offer to sell. Dusty's not a headline, he's family. Instead, Cal agrees to one thing, a single community show, low pressure, no lights. Just a quiet gathering in the county arena where Dusty once dazzled crowds as a champion. When the day arrives, the arena fills with faces both old and new. No announcements, no expectations. Just one man and his horse in the center ring. The music plays. Dusty steps forward, head high. And for the first time in years, he performs. Not for medals, not for applause, but for the man who saw him when no one else did, and the man who believed he wasn't broken. The applause dies down as the final notes fade into the evening air. Dusty stands in the center of the arena, steam rising gently off his coat, head lowered but proud. Cal runs a hand down his neck, and for a long moment neither of them moves. They don't need to. The crowd begins to leave quietly, many wiping their eyes. There's no announcer, no trophy, no loud fanfare, just something rare and raw. Respect, reverence. Back at the farm, the barn is quiet again, but everything feels different now. The light hits the rafters softer. Dusty's stall is layered in fresh straw, the name Dusty Rose carved carefully into the gate rail by Cal himself. Riley keeps in touch. She sends old footage of Dusty in his prime, younger, faster, cleaner, but never more alive than he is now. Cal doesn't post much after that. He doesn't need to. He starts rebuilding parts of the farm, fixes the back fencing, paints the doors, turns the empty pasture into a walking trail, not for profit, just peace. And then, without planning to, he starts taking in more animals. A retired sheepdog with one good eye, a goat missing a horn, a pony that spooks at shadows. They come quietly, left behind by others. Cal welcomes them all. Neighbors begin calling his place the Second Chance Farm. He doesn't argue. One afternoon, a local school asks if they can bring a few kids out to visit. Cal hesitates. Dusty's older now. He's earned his rest. But something tells him to say yes. The children arrive on a yellow bus, bouncing with excitement. Cal gives them a tour of the barn, shows them the feed shed, lets them pet the goat, who won't stop bleating. And then they see Dusty. He's in the paddock watching. One little girl, no older than 7, walks up to the fence. She holds out her hand. Dusty doesn't move. Then, slowly, he steps forward. He lowers his head until her tiny palm rests against his muzzle. She closes her eyes. So does he. Cal watches from the porch, arms folded across his chest. That night, as the sun sinks over the fields, Cal sits in the dirt beside Dusty's stall, sipping coffee from a chipped blue mug. The barn creaks. The cicadas sing. "I bought you to save you," he says aloud, "but turns out you saved me." Dusty flicks an ear but says nothing. He doesn't need to. The next morning, Cal finds an envelope in his mailbox, another offer, a big one, a sponsorship for Dusty's comeback journey, television, travel, branding. Cal smiles, then tosses it in the fire barrel without opening it. Fame doesn't matter. What matters is this place, this life, this peace. He walks to the barn and opens the gate. Dusty steps out, calm as sunrise. Together, they walk the trail behind the pasture. Just a man and his horse. No stage, no lights. Only the quiet kind of miracle that happens when someone's finally seen for what they are, and loved anyway. And maybe, just maybe, there's someone out there who needs this story today. Someone who feels forgotten, someone others have written off. If this story moved you, share it. Let someone know they're not broken, just waiting to be understood. And if you believe in second chances, leave a like. Subscribe for more stories that remind us sometimes the ones who seem finished are only just beginning.